Wicked Metal Reviews.
Part 2.
Part dos. Parts 5.
Parte dos.
Greatest gaming moments. Lots of spoilers if you
Duh.
haven't played the games.
Duh.
Don't watch it. God damn it. Let's start. Gears 4.
Gears. Anything from Gears 1 that necessarily stands out? I mean, I never played Gears 1, so...
To me, the only moment that really stood out to me was when you first fight the Berserker.
Yeah. Or
That thing makes you shit your pants. You're just like,
the first time you
This.
chainsaw someone.
yeah. And you just find out that power. But fighting the Berserker was scary as shit.
And then
That was
Yeah, but-
incredible. Or when also, what are they? Krill?
the krill.
The
Yeah.
things that will kill you if you're in the dark.
Yeah, the krill.
Or whatever. When you first encountered those things, that place where you find them
Yeah.
is just creepy as
And
fuck.
the mission with the runners or whatever, the vehicles that, whatever they're called, with the light gun or the light
Oh,
turret.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was a pretty intense
But-
mission.
Gears 2. There's a couple I can think of.
Dom finding his wife, just like
Ooh,
That
yeah.
was sad as shit.
Ty.
She's just in this
Yeah.
fucking tomb. Or
Oh,
a
yeah.
tomb-like thing, and she's just a corpse.
yeah.
Ty.
Ty, like you
Commit
give him the
suicide.
shotgun and then
Commit suicide.
he just
Yeah.
shoots himself.
Yeah.
I thought B. Carmine's death was pretty powerful. Compared to A. Carmine, which is kind of happened. B. Carmine, I actually kind of liked him, you know. I heard the opinion of A. Carmine wasn't all that high.
Is that Gears 2?
Yeah. it
B.
was Gears
Carmine
too.
was Gears too. They
Anthony Carmine
go
was
in
one.
you go into the he gets eaten by the riftworm and you go in the belly and he's being dissolved by like all the parasites and acids in there.
And
And then
the sinking of Jacinto
We're just like, oh, we're
is
gonna-
something I
this-
really never expected to
the
happen.
city that's been our base. Yeah, we're just gonna
We're just gonna sink it.
sink it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, on the flip side, I think there's a lot of stuff in 3. 3 has a lot.
The one that I feel the defining moment of Gears was when Dom dies.
Yeah, but before that,
That was-
when he visits Maria's grave.
Yeah.
That scene, like, that was a very touching scene. And then, like, not even 20 minutes later, he basically sacrifices himself.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's
then
big. I
It's
didn't
just
see it
like
coming.
you've played through this entire franchise
With
him
Dom
by
at your side.
Yeah, and it's just
dead.
gone. It's just like you felt kind of attached to him. It's just like you and him will
Yeah.
do anything together. And it's
Like, my friend and I played through the first Gears and the second Gears. I was Dom, you know, because he was the first player. So I was Dom for the first and second Gears.
yeah,
And then he's gone.
And then he's
Yeah.
gone.
just,
And then kind of
Yeah.
almost like a follow up to that, at the very tail end of the game, stabbing Queen Mira with Dom's knife.
Was very satisfying.
That was just like that. I'm glad that you didn't just shoot her and then she had some overly dramatic death scene. Like that was like a really close and personal thing.
No, you just stabbed her.
I mean, people get on Gears of War for its overly macho characters and its very bro-like, dialogue and stuff like that. And sometimes the dialogue is very cringeworthy.
It is very bro.
And just the dialogue just makes you go, dude, come
Come on,
on,
Coltrane.
really?
Coltrane.
Woo!
But I mean, it does have
But
some very, very
The Brothers to
powerful
the End
moments.
chapter of
Yeah.
Gears 3 was a very
Yeah,
touching chapter.
Definitely. A very fitting title.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Gears of War is shit.
Gears 4 is awesome.
Except for Judgment, but we don't acknowledge
No,
Judgment.
we don't talk about that.
Judgment doesn't exist. The only thing that exists in Judgment is that one fucking chapter that they tease you with and be like, hey, remember how Gears of War used to be?
Yeah.
Oh, it's different now.
Yeah. Oh, because one of my first favorite series, Kingdom Hearts, that's
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
lot of moments, and especially just the first one. God, the first one, I think, in the very first, when you're in Destiny Island, you get spit out from the keyhole, and you just look,
Yeah.
and the world is almost completely gone, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, this is all that's left is this tiny tiny splotch of sand is all that's left of this world, and like a tree or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sora sacrificing himself with the Keyblade of the Heart or whatever that Riku has, and turning into a
Well, I
Heartless.
think even before that,
The whole Riku's fight, that's just
Yeah,
like,
that whole fight against Riku.
or when Riku just takes the Keyblade from you and gives you some little stupid fucking card.
The wooden sword.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
I was like, fuck you, dude. Eat my butthole, man. In the ending of 1 was pretty crazy, too.
Oh,
when
When
Riku-
Riku and Mickey are in the
Yeah.
Dark World or on the Dark Shore.
on the other side of Kingdom Hearts, what you see, whatever. After you have some really long, drawn-out boss fight with Ansem,
Yeah.
it's like 5 of them
where you
going
have to
around.
fight him like 5 fucking times, which is ridiculous.
You know what entire game deserves to be just a great gaming moment? Chain of Memories.
Dude,
Don't even-
I wish I could blow Chain of Memories up with a bomb.
Yeah.
I
No.
hate Chain of Memories with such a fucking passion. It's not even funny.
There are 2 games of the Kingdom Hearts series I wish did not exist. Chain of Memories is one of them. The other is 358 over 2 days.
No.
Who's gonna eat ice cream with me?
Oh god.
Uh,
That one line just
That is-
ruined that entire
that was
game.
Like, it could have been a very good story, but it's... no.
Hey, you just died.
Oh, am I gonna
Eat
eat
ice cream with me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can't believe we sat down and watched all 3 hours of those cutscenes one night.
yeah, it was fun.
There was some other
It
things
was
besides
cool to
eating ice
figure
cream.
out some story.
Yeah.
At least to me, it was cool. But yeah, Chain of Memories fucking cool.
2's also. I mean, I think
2's a mind fuck.
the end of Roxas's, this day 6 of
Day
Roxas's
6 of Roxas.
tutorial, like at the end where he's just like, I mean, it's another one of those really campy Kingdom
Guess my
Hearts songs.
summer
I guess my
vacation's
summer
over.
vacation is over.
And you open up Sora's.
Yeah.
And you awaken Sora and Goofy and Donald. Yeah, that was awesome.
The fight against Axel right
Dumb.
before that.
What?
The fight against Axel, like right before that, where you
That was
get
a good boss
where you get Oathkeeper and
Yeah.
Oblivion.
Yeah, that's when you realize that Roxas is tits.
Yeah.
And then he's gone.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
The 1,000 Heartless. Well, even before the 1,000 Heartless challenge, when you, for all intents and purposes, believe Goofy is dead
No, yeah.
in Radiant Garden.
That's
Or, sorry,
like-
this is before.
And
Radiant.
even before that, when you have to fight that stupid motherfucker.
Oh, I hate
Who is he?
Demix.
Demix. That's
is
one of
a
the
bitch.
most annoying boss fights I've ever played in my life. I don't know if I've ever been so angry at a boss fight.
You actually threw that controller
I was
a good
fucking
distance
pissed.
across the room.
This thing's pissed me the fuck off, man.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
But then,
Um,
yeah.
Then you get the 1,000 Heartless challenge, and I wish I would have made a separate save file just so I could keep doing that challenge. 'Cause that was
Yeah.
probably one of the most
That
fun
was
things.
epic, and one thing that was cool about that is there's literally 1,000 Heartless on the screen.
Oh,
And
they-
it's
They
just
pushed
you.
that PS2 to the fucking max.
Yeah, and it's just you against
Yeah.
1,000 Heartless.
I mean, yeah, you do have the
Reaction
two most
commands.
OP reaction commands in the entire game at your side, but that still doesn't subtract the fact that there's still 1,000 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Though
1,000
that
to
was-
1.
that
Though you could easily take out probably a good 30, 40 with one of these reaction commands if it's a crowded
If you
area.
get Rising Sun, yeah.
Yeah, I think another
Or,
moment from 2 is when you actually, they kind of go hand in hand, sort of, when you find out who Ansem, the real Ansem is.
Yeah.
What Ansem
Oh, hey,
dies.
it's Samuel Lee again.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and then when you actually find out what happened to Riku,
That's another good one.
Yeah.
and that's just like, whew, damn.
And the final fight, where it's you and Riku, and you actually control Riku at one point.
Dude, that fight was
And the very end of that fight, where you're just butt mashing action.
No!
You're just like, my fucking hand hurts.
Yeah, my forearm started cramping because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Boom! And then it's just done. Like, yes! And then you win, and then you feel so satisfied.
Or when you actually find out what Organization 13 was after,
Yeah.
which that was pretty like, fuck.
oh shit. Now
Or
there's-
what happens when Sora defeats a Heartless.
Yeah.
you know?
it's just why everything I've been doing is for nothing.
Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah.
those moments.
Like, I specifically remember that cutscene in Hollow Bastion when you're up on, like, that cliff and you just find out so many things about what Organization 13's after, and that, you know, when you defeat a Heartless, it releases its heart to
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts and all that stuff, like...
And then next, I think it's one of the next games in the series. You would appreciate this. Just the entire ending of all three storylines in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah. The whole.
It might be one of the most depressing endings. I've ever
Everything
seen.
that happens in the Keyblade Graveyard.
is just amazing.
It's amazing, and it's one of the most depressing things I have watched in a Kingdom Hearts cutscene.
Oh god, it's bad.
Because essentially, it's like the ending of Empire. The Empire Strikes Back.
everything is going.
All
to
the
shit.
the bad guys essentially win.
Yep. So
I guess
that's about it for
Yeah,
Kingdom
for
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
Legend of Zelda. First drawing the Master Sword in like Ocarina of Time.
That's
When you first go through the Temple of Time, you draw the Master Sword.
that's a big moment. I think just that whole final boss fight against Ganon.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna say like the very last moment for me was the end of the game. Like when you see the end pop up on the screen, it's just the Master Sword in the pedestal
That's
at the end, and you feel so accomplished for having finished this amazing story.
on a similar note. The ending of Majora's Mask.
Yes.
If you go into it with like, if you've seen the video on Game Theory where he says that Link's dead throughout the entire portion of the Majora's Mask, where he's going off into the fog at the end, and you're like, and then when you think about it with that mindset, and you're like, oh, he's
Finally
moving
accepted
on,
his fate.
he's moving on, and he's passing away, and I'm like, wow, that's when you look at it that way, that's a really powerful moment because he just willingly he doesn't just walk. He rides a fucking horse.
Yeah.
Off into.
He takes Epona with him and just goes.
So that's another good one. I mean, other than that, I mean, Legend of Zelda is mostly. Even though I do love the series a lot, it's a lot of.
Yeah.
Copy
But I
paste.
mean, like for a game where there has never been any voice acting
Some of the most
whatsoever.
powerful moments.
Some of the most powerful moments in gaming history, in my opinion, have come from that series. Yeah.
Let's talk about Skyrim. I'm sure we can get about Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Sam, what gets you about Skyrim?
Honestly, not too much. I mean, it's a good game, but there aren't a ton of moments because there aren't cutscenes, I suppose. That may be one thing.
Yeah.
But there are a few moments, like probably the first time, for me it was the first time, going up to the throat of the world and you encounter that frost troll.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
for me at least, every time I've gone through that, I haven't been ready for it, and that's a moment.
I literally ran from that frost
Yeah.
troll. And
Yeah.
he literally almost followed me all the way to High Rock. Like, almost the whole way.
all that high from.
Speaking of the throat of the world, like the first time you actually go to the peak to speak with what's his nuts,
Parthenax.
Parthenax, and you just
Part of
like
the nuts.
you just look out off of the throat of the world, and you just see almost everything. It's just like it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
First time you fight a dragon. I mean,
Yeah,
it's got to be
the first
said.
time you fight and kill a dragon.
It's,
and absorb a
it's
dragon's
mostly
soul,
because then that soundtrack starts, and then you're just like,
you feel like a boss.
and then you're just like, all right.
As glitchy as it is, the intro to that game is, like, fucking cool as shit. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
just on that, and you're about to get your head chopped off, and boom, dragon, and then everything's going to shit, and then, you know, you have to run away and all that stuff. That was crazy.
One part that is kind of neat is when eventually you go through the game with the blades, I think, and then you see a dragon being resurrected by Alduin. Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yes.
But I mean, the game is pretty good. There's a lot of stuff to do, but I feel like there is kind of a lack of like those moments. I mean, there are moments within the game that are cool, but nothing that's like, you know.
I think another really cool one in there is the end of whatever Civil War quest line you happen to do and you go and you invade the city, and it's
Yeah.
on fire, and it's just like,
I called down a dragon. I called down
I did too.
Udaving.
Udaving, yeah. I did
And then
same
the
thing.
second time I did it, I used a storm call, and it was just lightning striking down people around me.
Yeah, watch out for that though. It might hit teammates and they don't like you.
Yeah, that's true.
One moment that I will always remember about that game, I don't know, it's just something about it. It's in Dawnguard quest line. When you go to the Forgotten Vale, I
Oh,
think it
yeah.
is the Touching the Sky quest.
Touching the sky,
And
and you use the
you-
bow. No.
No,
and,
well, yeah, later, but there's two moments in that. One when you have to, get the water from all those things.
Oh yeah.
And you have to fight two dragons at one time. And they just break out of the ice, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Oh,
oh,
shit.
shit. Like, that was pretty fucking crazy. Another one, when you actually get into
Into
The
this-
palace.
the palace
Citadel.
or whatever, and everybody is frozen. That was creepy. And
Yeah.
you're just walking through there, and everybody is fucking frozen. Then you get into the place, and there's just one guy that's alive, sitting on the throne.
Yes.
I forget his name. but
He's
I
the
was
last.
like-
No, he's one of the last snow
two-
elves.
Yeah.
Well, there may be more snow
But
elves.
the last two confirmed ones.
The last two confirmed snow
Then
elves,
then
and they are brothers, and you have to kill the one.
Yeah, and that was just crazy. That was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I thought.
The first time you use a shout, like on someone.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, yeah. When you shout on someone, because you're supposed to just do the unrelenting force into the air, and that doesn't really have
Yeah.
anything. But first time I used it was on that damn troll.
Yeah.
And I knocked it back, and I was like, ah, yeah.
The first time, shouting, I mean, it's not a huge moment, but I took Lydia up to the very top of the throat of the world.
Did you push her off?
I full on, like, the fully upgraded Unrelenting Force. I just blasted her off the side of that
Poor
mountain.
Lydia. She's always getting abused. I think
Is
anybody.
she the one that's always in your fucking house?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
that bitch. I'm gonna do that too. She pisses me off. She's always in my house. I'm like, get the fuck out of my house. I didn't invite you in here.
Yeah.
What do you think you are?
Maybe you should lock the door.
I do. She doesn't have the key. I have
Maybe
the
she
key,
does.
'cause
Yeah.
I'm a man.
Alright. What other games we got?
I don't know. We can talk about that.
I don't know. We don't have to talk about anything.
We can talk about one moment that really, like a story moment that's just like, fuck, dude, was Red Dead Redemption's ending.
Yeah.
The betrayal of John Marston.
Yeah.
Like when he
The
like
last
runs
enemy
out and
shall
you
be
know
destroyed. Yeah.
he just does it and he dies and
Yeah.
blaze of glory.
And it's just like he worked with the government to kill all of his
His
crew
former
that
gang.
in his crew that he ran
Essentially
around
killed his
with.
brother.
Yeah, pretty much. And then he worked so hard he finally could just spend time with his wife and his kid, and then
And
they
do what he wanted to do on his farm, his
yeah,
ranch, or
and,
whatever.
and the thing is they built that up, and then you play a bunch of fucking missions, with your wife and your child and
Yeah.
stuff, and you get to kind of connect with them and get to know them, and he's so happy, and he's got all his life together, and then they come and they try to kill him, and then they tell him, he tells his wife and his kid to run away or whatever, and he just opens the door and is gunned the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, the way he's just gunned down, there's just blood all over the fucking ground, all over his face, and it's just, he's probably shot like 15 fucking times. Like, I was like, fuck.
And then I didn't like Jack Marston as a character, but going and killing what's his name?
Yes.
I was just like, you know what? Fuck you. I just went into Deadeye and just both kneecaps,
Murdered that fuck.
right in the nuts, just right in his head. I just went into town. I marked him as many times as I could,
Yeah.
and just went to town.
What do you think about that?
About what?
Red Dead's ending. John
Ending?
Marston. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's that thing where if you've ever watched a Western movie or Western TV show,
Any
the
Clint
hero
Eastwood.
never dies. The hero always, well, I don't know about never, but a good 99.9% of the time, the hero always gets the guy. The hero, whether it's the Lone Ranger,
The hero
or,
rides off into the sunset.
who else is there? Cheyenne, or
Shane,
I know a minimal amount of Western TV shows.
whoever John Wayne happens to be playing. Or
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood.
they always get the guy, but it's just kind of weird for old Western. The hero, the guy, is just gunned down like that. And no fancy fashion, just done.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty
just done.
slapped with reality.
That's
And then
it.
that fat government fuck, I forget his name. He just he's just like, get out of here.
Brad Platt,
Yeah.
19.
Just like, damn.
And that's what makes killing him so much more satisfying.
Yeah. Honestly, up until that point, I was like, this game's got an alright story. It's an alright game. Then that just happened. I was like, this is a good, amazing fucking story. I didn't see that coming at all. I honestly did not. That was incredible. Yeah. I mean, there's some moments from Grand Theft Auto 5
Yeah,
that I
5.
feel. Just a couple, really.
The first time you meet Trevor.
Yeah, when you meet Trevor, that's pretty fucking funny. In the way that you just kill that fucking guy.
You just kind
You
of knock
just
him down. You
fucking-
just stomp his fucking brains
You
out.
just brutally murder that fucking guy.
And then you start talking to the bit of brain matter on your shoe when it show up. That's comedy gold.
Yeah.
Honestly, anything that comes out of Trevor's mouth.
Yeah.
I think the kind of the thing that's in a way starts the entire much of the story where you rip that guy's house off the side of the cliff. That's a pretty
That was so over the top.
that
Like,
but that was a great
The
moment.
thing that pissed me off is that you go back there, if you drive by, his house is up there.
Wait, the house is still there. He just ripped the porch off.
Yeah.
Is the porch still there?
But I thought you ripped the whole fucking house.
Now
out.
he just
No,
ripped
it's
the
just
porch.
I think the
Paid to fix it.
Yeah, that's true. You paid to fix
I
it.
guess,
One of my most memorable Grand Theft Auto memories is not from 5, but from San Andreas. Like toward the end, where you kind of your gang or whatever is basically 3 other guys. I kind of forget the name. I think one was Carl, one was Smoke, and
Yeah, one was Smoke. Carl Smoke and
Carl
CJ.
Smoke and CJ.
CJ was the playable character, but there's one other guy. I remember because he had a crew of 4, and eventually by the end, I don't exactly remember 100% how this plays out, but I know they kind of turn on you. At least 2 of them sort of turn on you, and I should remember the ending a lot more. But I remember actually playing until the end because I played a lot of San Andreas. Maybe one of my most played games ever, just screwing around. And then one day after like 2 years of playing it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat this thing. And then I just like powered through it, and I ended up beating it, and it was like maybe one of the first times I was like, oh, this is satisfying, this is a game that I beat, it's pretty, that was a decent ending. I remember the impact, I don't remember entirely, I just remember 2 of your dudes turning on you, and eventually towards the end there's like, was it like riots or something, and stuff was on fire, and crazy stuff like that, and at one point you like drive through a house, and it was pretty cool for being a PlayStation 2 game. But Grand Theft Auto 5, a part that I remember, if there's one thing from Grand Theft Auto 5 that I remember, off the top of my head, it's what these guys said. Probably some of the over the top, what's his name?
Trevor.
moments.
Him, the murders that he commits in what is it, Wade's Wade's cousin and his girlfriend.
Probably the bank robbery at the end was. I mean, the bank robberies in general were pretty memorable.
The first heist was awesome.
Yeah.
I think
So
the is it the third one? No, the fourth one, where you rob the bank. and you
Yeah,
get the
that was
minigun, and you're just, and then you know you have to,
Oh,
and then you have to drive the goddamn forklift.
Yeah.
I just thought like, all right,
One
yeah.
moment that I'll never forget about that game was the cutscene where you're Trevor and you're talking to Wade and you're in his fiance's apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's complaining about taking that fucking submarine and blowing up that government ship, and then Trevor's like, "What? You just want me to whip my dick out?" And I'll whip my dick out. And then there's another cutscene later, and he actually does whip his dick out, and you see his ball sack from behind. You see his hairy ass, and he's like, "Well, it just gets the job done. It's not the best, but it gets the job done." I'm like,
I
God
thought it was
damn.
pretty
God
funny
damn.
when Mike was calling him a Mike, right?
Michael.
Yeah.
Michael was calling him a hipster. And
Yeah.
everything. But the part that pissed me off, one of the parts I remember about the game, is the part where Trevor and I think Wade and maybe Wade's cousin steal something from the government, and then they don't sell it or anything.
You have to give it back.
Yeah, something along those where
Oh,
it's like during
you have the helicopter. You
Yeah.
gotta drop the submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
water area, and you
Yeah.
steal, so you like blow up a ship or something.
Yeah.
You steal something, and you have to give it back.
Because it
So
was like
stupid
nuclear
thing.
material or
Yeah.
something
That's
like that. I
something.
think.
That's one thing about that game. Is just some things just didn't make fun.
The third heist was pretty cool. The one where you just rammed the truck and then you got to defend. Like you just kind of ram the armored
Yeah.
truck, take all the money, and then that was pretty cool.
That's what, I mean, looking back at it, it's pretty stupid funny how you had to give it back, but there are some dumb moments in the game that afterwards, in hindsight, they're kind of funny.
Like, I
Yeah.
remember a couple moments fondly from the first half of that game, and then if you ask me to tell you how that ending goes, I'll just tell you that Michael and Trevor were arguing the whole time. That's all I can remember.
Yeah.
Talking about it,
And
I
that the
kinda
last mission was
The intro was pretty memorable. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
running
the intro
and
mission.
Yeah.
the third guy dying.
Yeah.
Talking about it now, I want to play the story of GTA 5 again.
Yeah, I kind of do too. It was fun.
I still can't play that
I'll
game.
probably
I don't know what it is.
still wait, and then I'll be like, I really want to play GTA 5.
Yeah,
'cause-
I have to
yeah.
be in that.
That's for
Jack
GTA.
3.
I was gonna say the Jack and Daxter series,
The whole thing was pretty fucking awesome.
but I think Jack. Well, I mean, the really big moments kind of started in Jack 2.
Yeah, the thing that sucks though is that the only thing I don't like about that franchise is it's one of my favorites of all time. But I mean, the first game was incredible, but then just how good the stories were 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I just feel like there should be one more, one more just really fucking awesome story.
Yeah,
in that
because
game.
the Lost Frontier was not.
And the
good.
first one didn't really have too much of a story. You just wanted to do
Something with the
Dark Eco
precursor
shit
orbs
and-
or whatever.
it was just it was a fun game, but it didn't really have a powerful story or anything. But Jack 3, when you find out that you're actually Mar, and you find out that dude that saved you out in the desert,
The
your
desert,
father.
the Desert King, your father essentially. Yeah.
And you find out that little kid in Jack 2 was you. It's a little bit of a mind fuck, but it was just all pretty shocking. And I think the intro to 3 was pretty incredible because you spent 2 completely saving Haven City, and then in 3 you're exiled out to the desert because there was some little group of small metalheads that still existed. But then you found out that Woody fuckface that took over the city, destroyed the palace, but everybody blamed it on Jack. And so he's exiled to the desert, and it was just like, well, fuck you guys.
He's
Why the fuck
exiled
should
out to
I
the
help
desert to work for his father.
you? Yeah, but the metalheads are still around, and then you end up going back to Haven City later, and it's completely fucking destroyed. And it's just like, fuck.
And
Jack 3 is the shit.
yeah, like the ending was like when you're on the Dark One's ship, and you have to
Yeah.
escape.
Yeah.
And you have I think it's 2.5 minutes
Mhm.
to fight through all of these guys and get off of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you find out who the precursors are, that they're those little fucking
The Otzels.
Otzels, and
They all look
it's
like
just
Daxter.
really, dude? And the ending of 3 was just funny. How Jack finally got, or not Jack, Daxter finally got pants.
Yeah,
He always
that's all he
wanted
wanted.
Pants. And
That's
he
all he
finally got
wanted
pants.
was a pair of pants.
And then that blonde-haired chick
Turns
became
into
an
an
Otzel, and then they're gonna fucking bang. And the thing that pisses me off about 3 is they set that ending up so well for more games. But they never fucking...
They had the Lost Frontier, but that was eh. Yeah.
They just need to make another Jack and Daxter. My life would be complete.
Let's see. Anything else necessarily?
Wieners.
God of
Not
War.
too much.
God of War.
God of War, yeah.
Getting the shit beat out of you from Poseidon's point of view.
Usually all the
essentially.
moments from God of War
Or just brutal.
are just brutal deaths.
The one that sticks out to me is one of the only more recent ones I played. Like Luke said, is where you beat the crap out of Poseidon, but you see it from his point of view, and you just watch you beat the crap out of yourself.
When you kill Hermes, I think his name is, the way you kill him is that you literally rip his
No, that's
legs off.
Apollo. You rip off Apollo's head.
no, you rip his
Yeah.
legs off. You rip off Hermes' legs.
Yeah,
off.
you
Yeah, you rip Hermes' legs off.
literally hold him and rip his legs off.
And then you get his boots.
Well, the ending of God of War 3 was pretty incredible because you're talking to Athena and, you know,
It was incredible, but it was also
Kratos-
kind of cheesy.
Kratos'
at
mother,
times.
but he just completely kills himself.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh. And
Shit.
there's just this
And
gigantic fucking hole in his stomach from him stabbing himself, and there's just blood everywhere. It's like, oh. I think one moment, though, from God of War is when you first fuck your first Greek chicks.
Yeah.
God of War 1. And there's like tits, and you get to fuck them, and you play that sex mini game. Just saying.
The very first boss fight against the Hydra in the very
Yeah.
first God of War.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like for whatever reason that they start you off with that, and there's even boss fights that are small.
For the
bosses.
longest time, I could not get past that boss fight. I don't know. I just wasn't used to God of War's. Yes, I guess. Once you get past that first game was incredible. I gotta play that game. Fuck.
I think that's bad.
One moment for me, the last one that I have at least, is 2 moments, or a couple moments from the Uncharted franchise. The opening of Uncharted 2 is absolutely
the
insane.
train.
Oh yeah,
With
the train.
the train, and you're hanging off the train. You gotta, you know, this train's gonna fall off, and you know Drake's all fucked up, and that was crazy. But the actual train sequence that leads to the beginning of 2 was one of the coolest sequences I've ever played. Just the amount of options that you can take, you know, to take out everybody in that. It was just incredible. And then the last moment from the Uncharted franchise is in Uncharted 3, when you're out in the desert, because you tried to get on some plane, but that plane ended up crashing and stuff. So you're out in the desert and you're trying to find. Fuck, I forget the place. Sam, what's the place? Did you play Uncharted 3? What's the place that you're trying to find out in the desert? Fuck, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're Drake and you're just wandering around the desert and Drake's like on the borders of death. And you're just like,
Yeah.
dude.
Another big part was when the ship sinks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy. Yeah, that definitely was.
Anyone else have anything?
I was gonna say just really quick because I think I might be one of the very few people who do that. Battling Mecha Hitler in Wolfenstein 3D. It seems really cheesy on paper, but that's actually one of my favorite boss fights ever. Just because that's just, I don't know. One, there's something about killing Hitler, and then that was hard as fuck. So.
I guess one of my last moments is from Knights of the Old Republic.
Nuts?
Here we go.
Knights
The Old
Knights-
Republic?
Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic. When you're on the Starforge,
Oh. Okay.
and you're basically facing your former apprentice. You've gone through the game, you believing the majority of the game believing you're someone. You had no idea who the fuck you were. You had no memories because the Jedi Council essentially sealed them off from you. You find out that you are Zemnis. Or not Zemnis, Revan. Sorry, I'm getting my games confused.
There you go.
You find out that you're Revan, who fought in the original Sith Wars. Became a Sith himself later on. And then, depending on how you played through the game, there's two different endings. The canon ending is the light side ending, where you basically kill your former apprentice and destroy the Star Forge. And that, like, just that moment there where you, like, just killing your former apprentice is... And then you just leave. You go off, because you're not at all in Knights of the Republic yet.
I must go, my people need me.
Yeah, essentially.
Last moment. Probably I'll dedicate this one to multiple video games. And specifically The Suffering, or a game we played a little bit of, Outlast. It's the first moment in a horror video game when you see something. Like something runs pretty quickly into the darkness, or, you know, I guess in Outlast there were, someone dashes by, you don't get a good look at it. That's a moment for video games.
When we all scream like little girls, essentially.
That's it.
Okay. And the last moment for me is fighting the food.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In any Pokemon game, your very first Pokemon game. How intense that is.
Yeah, it's...
Getting your first Pokemon is pretty cool.
Yeah. Or catching the first.
Yeah.
That's some
Yeah.
It's very,
Yeah, you know, whatever.
Gyarados.
Nuts. Straight nuts.
Bringing Bob Lee back from the grave.
Bob Lee's ghost. Yeah.
You saved Hyrule in your